think we're live. Hopefully. Yeah, we are. Can you hear me? Is it all coming through clear? I haven't got a clue. Yeah, sorry, this is the first time I've done a stream in a bit of time. Just basically a season review to go over the 2021-22 season. That was a complete mess. Yeah, that's kind of it really, because I haven't done this for a bit of time, so I do apologise. It's going to be different. And we've already lost our concurrent viewer, so that's a great start. How well. Anyway, so we'll start off with the good bit. Oh, we have someone here. Hello, Reece Colburn. Very nice to see you. Hopefully everything's coming through sound. So yes, we're going to start off with the good bit because, make it a bit positive at the start. I think you have to look at realistically the signings. I mean, Damari Gray, Townsend, realistically been the only good signings that we've had recently. And then your players, you have Pickford, you have Richarlison, you have Gordon. These players standing up, being counted for, frankly, a really horrid time of the season, really tough periods for most of the games, most of the season. Just, not fantastic. Sorry, this was meant to be the good bit. But the start of the season wasn't so bad, was it? Realistically, could have been a lot better, but could have won every game. But the start of the season was decent, And then there wasn't really much else to shout about. We lose one game and then we just start losing every one. And then we go on to the bad bit. So that's the good bit over and done with. The bad bit, wow. Rafa Benitez to start off with. I mean, where did that appointment even go in the first place? Crazy. Like, where was the logic to even appoint him in the first place? But, it's one of them. The awful away form, awful home form. Just everything was a mess. The tactics were wrong. It was just, how do you reckon we'll get on next season? I'd be happy with the top half finish myself after last season. Yeah, top half. If we can get top half, I'll be laughing. I feel like top half, maybe a decent journey through the cup. Can't really complain. And then it's like the FFP screwing us over, so we can't make any big signings, which then, of course, led to this whole thing with Dean fiasco and scenario. Having to sell one of our most creative players, frankly, one of our best players, to be able to sign Mikalenko and Patterson, which wasn't too bad in hindsight to be able to make the money and then obviously get them. But just that whole situation with Luca Dean really, really didn't look good for the management, didn't look good for the team, and it wasn't what the team needed, realistically. So then, obviously, with that being linked to the January window, we have to start speaking about this little agent, Kia. And I can't be bothered trying to pronounce his surname, just how much I hate him. But that Kia Jaborian, I think it was his name was something like that. Just absolute scum in terms of interfering with the club, interfering with Mashiri, interfering with the transfers and the money being used. It was just, it just stunk. Really, really stunk. And he was the one that fucked him for this El Ghazi signing. Waste of a loan, waste of money to use up for a guy that played, half an hour for an entire season? Nah, not good. Which then, when you think about that, brings into light of Mashiri's mismanagement. The whole stuff with the money being overspent, the finances being wrong, him not appropriately promoting and getting rid of people that need to be getting rid of. Won't mention any names now, but not great, not fantastic from Mashiri in our viewpoints. I think from most fans, and that just sort of topped off how awful of a season this has been for most, if not all of us. And then we came onto a section where Everton, that, if you like, hiring an ex-Liverpool manager. Why? Why would you hire a manager who has been successful with your biggest rivals? It just doesn't make any sense at all. And for that being a dinosaur manager at that, but it's one of them. And that just sort of led down a horrible route, which then brought out the 27 campaign. I mean, fair play to them. Fair play to the ringleaders that managed to start the 27 campaign, because that really got a bit of movement going in terms of, I think, how the season sort of changed. Excuse me. And you had Benitez going, and then you had them really starting to get a microscope down onto the management, onto the board, just how the club's being run as general. And with those protests coming out, I think it's what convinced people to listen more to fans anyway. And especially with the appointment of Frank Lampard, who the fans have been backing for ages, of course. And he's really come in and he's just got it. He has just got the club. Whether that's helped with him being an ex-player from the Premier League, I think will certainly help in terms of what he knows in terms of how to play the system, how much the clubs mean to fans. You don't get that unless you've played in the Premier League or been in the Premier League. With the likes of Vieira and Gerrard as well, they've got their clubs. They understand how it works. So Lampard, I hopefully can see going from strength to strength. And even when Lampard came in, it didn't look great. Really didn't look great in terms of the form. We were dwindling. We were heading towards the relegation. So the 27 campaign got put on hold, of course. And yeah, the atmosphere, the Goodison atmosphere just went from there all the way up as high as you can go. Just, flares, the coach welcomes, the singing, the chanting, everything to help rejuvenate this atmosphere, make Goodison what it was in the 90s and the 80s. And it rejuvenated the team. And it basically saved the team, if we're being brutally honest. Yeah, just fantastic. Fantastic in terms of how we've managed to get from there to there, and all because of basically the fans. If we're being realistically, it's the fans. And just being able to be safe, go into the final day of the season and be like, thank God that's over. Because, it was a hell of a ride. I mean, I've only just gone over that briefly, but I'd love to know what anyone else's thoughts are that's here watching or would be watching afterwards, to comment down below and just say, how do you think this season's going to go next season, realistically? Do you see Lampard being able to see it out? Do you reckon this board will still be here? I don't know. I think I want to give a quick shout out, though, to, Alex Iwobi. Start of the season, he was horrendous like the rest. But he's turned a corner, and I really hope he can turn a corner again and really make his mark for the team. And I think it's going to be a big summer ahead anyway for a lot of players in terms of who we get rid of, who we bring in. Because I'm going to be gutted if it's any of the big ones, Richarlison, Pickford, any of these kind of players that we have to sell to make money to then bring in other players. It's unfortunately one of those that we've been stuck in this situation because of a lack of management and a lack of board that can't do anything, basically. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say. Obviously, to respond back to the question earlier, where do I think we'll finish next season? I'd be happy again with top half, something like that at least. But yeah, it's just one of them. We'll find out, won't we, soon. I do apologise with this being a bit of a mess. I haven't done live streaming for ages, and you can tell. But hopefully you've enjoyed what 10 minutes of this has been, and Yeah, I will be improving. I will be improving with these, but we'll see you for the next one, next video, next stream, whichever. Take care. Up the toffees.